So, you want to be a pilot, or you want to know the different ways on becoming a pilot, and you want a sort of simple explanation. Well, you've come to the right place, sort of. Just a little quick disclaimer over here. I am no means for an expert opinion. I'm not a pilot. However, I've spoken to many individuals and groups, and I've researched enough information to provide you the best knowledge on ways to become a pilot to the best of my knowledge. As of right now, 2020 is not the best year to think or start learning to become a pilot. So I highly recommend to look for another profession such as engineering or management or something to do with computing, as they are highly in demand, but aviation will come back, trust me. Now, there are many ways of becoming a pilot. The main ones are to go through a university and get a degree and train to be a pilot. From there, through the Air Force, some people might say it's the hardest thing to go through. Thirdly, to go through an airline cadetship, and lastly, to go through your average flight school, which is probably at your general aviation airport. First things first, we need to go over the personal requirements. According to CASA, which is like the Australian FAA, you must have good eyesight, but you can have glasses to fix your eyesight. You must make accurate judgments quickly and remain calm in an emergency. So what I mean by that is, if you panic a lot, you probably aren't fit to be a pilot. You must be able to use your information from various sources and make decisions effectively, and be able to fluently speak, write, and understand English. Now, all of these personal requirements apply to most other aviation safety authorities around the world. I will try and link all the aviation safety authorities around the world in the description. Now remember, the education and training of a pilot is not easy. You must dedicate your time and put in 100% effort. There are a lot of examinations, theoretical and practical training, so you must be on top of everything when you are training to become a pilot, and exceed in your work commitments when you become a pilot in an airline or an Air Force or wherever you are becoming a pilot. Now, let's go through on how to become a pilot through a university. This is probably the best way of becoming a pilot in my opinion, because there are pathways which is arguably the best, especially at this time, because there are pathways such as engineering, management, business management, and much more that can go with your pilot's degree. However, this is the most costly and academically required and timely way of becoming a pilot. But it is probably the best way, because an airline is usually partnered up with an airline, which means you can go straight into a job after you've finished your studies. Let's go through the Air Force route on how to become a pilot. Now, this is an uncommon, unthought way of becoming a pilot, or people thinks that they are not good enough to become a pilot through the Air Force. Now, there are two main types of pilots in Air Forces around the world. There is a combat pilot and a mobility pilot. A combat pilot flies fighter planes such as an F-35, F-18, F-22, and many more combat aircraft. This is more the combat and surveillance side of Air Forces. Now, a mobility pilot, which is the lesser known, least exposed types of pilot in the Air Forces around the world. But what they do is they fly aircraft such as the C-17 Globemaster, C-130J, Hercules, and other aircrafts that usually carry cargo, high-ranking officials, surveying equipment, and much more stuff. This is probably the most physically and mentally demanding route on becoming a pilot, but it is a good way of becoming a pilot, because you usually will get taught by highly trained and disciplined instructors, which can help with future careers. For some Air Forces, you might need to go through some physical training and training to become an officer first, so please do your research for your Air Force in your country. Remember, you do not have to be an Air Force pilot for the rest of your life. You can turn to be a commercial pilot or do another pathway such as engineering after you've done your Air Force commitment. Now let's go through on how to become a pilot through an airline cadetship. Nearly every airline has an international training scheme. Just to throw you some examples, Qantas, Virgin, British Airways, and many more airlines have this cadetship programs. There will be a website containing a list of the cadetship programs around the world below in the description. This way, some say that an airline cadetship is the fastest way and easiest way of becoming a pilot. Now, in my opinion, I wouldn't recommend this way as a primary way of becoming a pilot. Being is that there is a lot of people applying, and airline accepts intakes of 1 to 2 times per year, which can limit the chances of going through this way. However, this is a speedy way of becoming a pilot and then going straight to a job. Finally, let's go through on how to become a pilot through your average flight school at your local airport. This is probably the reliable / less risky option, but it is a lengthy way of becoming an airline pilot. Reason is that after you finish the process of doing your PPL and CPL and whatever licenses, it might be hard to find an airline or a cargo company or whatever to hire you, which can be hard for pilots because usually pilots have barely any experience. Also, you need to consider the cost factor, and as the fees are not deductible by the organization. Some universities are partnered up with flight schools, so while you are learning to become a pilot, you can do a bachelor or degree of some sort so you can have a backup job if pilot jobs in your area are scarce. Please, whenever you are looking to become a pilot, please do your research and always have a backup just in case. So as it comes to the end of the video, write in the comments down below on what ways do you want to become a pilot. Check out my Instagram, which is at Quick Aviation. I post some cool aviation vids. Like and sub, and see you later. Bye.